This is rental car number 86, and today I'm driving the 2018 Kia Soul Plus. Now the Plus refers to the trim level. This is the midpoint. There's actually 3 trim levels: the base, Plus, and then I think it's called the exclamation point. I'm not really sure. Anyway, this 5-door subcompact crossover SUV retails for about $20,000 and has quite a bit of interesting bells and whistles that I want to share with you. It's clear to me that Kia has spent a lot of time designing this car. Whether or not you're a fan of the look and feel, I think you have to admit that this is a pretty good car for $20,000. So let's get started by popping the hood and taking a look at what's underneath. So the Soul is front-wheel drive. It's got a 6-speed automatic transmission with, well, they call it sportmatic shift capability. It's just sport shift. It's got a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that kicks out 161 horsepower. All in all, you get some really good gas mileage at 25 miles per gallon in the city and 30 on the highway, although my experience was slightly higher than that. And there's a 14.2 gallon fuel tank. All right, so what does that mean in real life? What do all those numbers mean? Well, this is a 4-cylinder engine, and it's a tiny little SUV. You don't get a lot of horsepower, so it's far from the fastest car on the road. But it's got some decent pickup. And because it's so small, the cornering is actually kind of fun. I really feel like I could push this thing a little bit harder when I'm going around some of these corners than I can with some of the sedans I've been driving lately. Also, acceleration is pretty decent. I mean, I was having fun driving this car. No problems merging onto traffic or keeping up with cars on the highway. You're just not going to get sports car-like performance. But if that's okay with you, and it should be at a $20,000 price point, then I think you're going to be really happy with the Kia Soul Plus. All right, but enough about performance. Let's jump inside the Soul and take a look at some of the design choices Kia has made on this vehicle. First off, let's take a look at the key fob. Now, this is exactly what I have on my Kia Sedona. That has a push-button start. This one does not. There's actually a flip-out key, and you can see that by looking at that little silver button right there. The key fob is definitely made out of solid materials. It feels great in the hand. When the key flips out, it has a real nice, crisp click to it, so it feels good. And it works great. Starts right up just like you'd expect it to. And here's the steering wheel. It's made out of plastic, but feels pretty good. Volume rockers right here and controls to interact with the display and the gauge cluster. Your phone buttons down here. Trip counter and a mode shift capability, so you can shift between eco and sport mode. Cruise controls right here, and then above you have a kind of aggressive looking gauge cluster with a small digital screen right in the center. And since we're talking about the steering wheel and the setup, let's look at the horn. It's kind of wimpy for my taste, right? I don't know, it could be a little bit more aggressive, but it works fine. And the controls to the left of the steering wheel are all pretty standard. You get your window controls, mirror controls, door locks, door latch, door handle, I don't know. The plus minus button you see on the dash, that's to increase the lights in the gauge cluster, and then a button to turn on and off traction control. And then also in this area are the dash-mounted tweeters. At least I think these are the tweeters. If you don't know what a tweeter is, it's essentially these speakers that kick out the higher-pitched sounds, so the kind of the opposite of bass. There's 2 of them, one on the left side of the vehicle and one on the right. I kind of like how these look. I think it adds a kind of a nice design feature to the interior of the vehicle. And since you can see them, let's talk about side view mirrors. Standard size, work great. Blindside detection is available on the Kia Plus, but not in the version that I got from Enterprise. And then going back in the vehicle and looking up, you do get a sunglass holder, 2 lights to illuminate the cabin, and then some pretty simple buttons to control if the lights turn on or off when you open the doors. Also, you get a standard rear view mirror. There are no buttons of any kind on the mirror itself, which is, well, it's kind of been my preference lately. And then below the mirror, you have a small circular cutout. Now, this looks good because you have the 2 tweeters on either side of it, but it's not very functional. I tried to keep my cell phone here for a while, my toll pass, and things just end up just flying right off when you go over a curve. Then shifting your gaze a little bit further down, you have two vents up top along with your hazard light button, and then you have your 7-inch touchscreen, which is a decent size, nice crisp clarity, and then you also have dedicated buttons on the left and the right side to help you jump to all those important menus. This system comes with a rear view camera display, which works pretty well. You also get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay preloaded. Both of those are phenomenal. I enjoy those both quite a bit. And then you also get Bluetooth capability. I was able to connect my cell phone within, I'd say, 15 seconds, which is pretty good. It's pretty quick. So all in all, this is a great setup. Really, I have no complaints. And then a little bit further down from the touchscreen, you get your climate controls. There's a lot of nice big buttons to control the fan and the flow of the air. Also, you get a nice big circular dial in the center to control the temperature. I really like this because it clicks really satisfyingly. You can really tell that Kia spent just a little bit of extra money to make this feel a little bit more high quality. And I also want to quickly mention that although there's no digital readout to tell you what temperature you've set everything at in the climate controls themselves, you do get a nice pop-up window on the touchscreen that tells you, where you've set the fan at and what temperature you've set the car at. And then below the climate controls, you get a nice sized storage cutout, perfect for a cell phone. There's also two power ports down here, a USB port and an auxiliary jack. I think it's worth noting that this area lights up in red at night, so you can see where the USB and auxiliary jack are in the dark. And then behind there you get the gear shift. It is made out of plastic, but it feels really good in the hand. You also get sport shift capability, so you can adjust those gears on the fly manually if you so choose. And then behind there you get the manual parking brake. You don't see these very often on 2018 cars, so I was kind of happy to have this on the Kia Soul Plus. And then also in this general area, you get two cup holders, work fine. And then the center armrest has a storage unit underneath. A decent sized area, nothing special down there, no USB ports or power ports. And then the glove box, which is actually surprisingly a pretty big size. And I also like that they've built in a small sort of shelf into the door, so you can organize things in this area, at least a little bit. Alright, so that's all the major highlights from the front seat. Let's jump into the back and take a look at what kind of things your passengers are going to get to experience. First off, you get cloth seats with, I think at least, a nice gray accent. These are pretty comfortable seats, and legroom back here is pretty good. I'm 6 feet tall, I have that front seat pushed back a good distance, and I still have a good 6 to 8 inches of legroom, which is quite a bit for a small car like this. So that's good, but unfortunately there's nothing on the back of the center armrest for the front seat. Usually get some vents or USB ports back here, but on the Kia Soul this is completely blank. Nothing at all. Your passengers do, however, get a fold-down armrest with two cup holders. This feels pretty good. Feels like it's made out of good quality materials. I'm also happy to report that the car seat anchors are very shallow, so they're super easy to get access to. I've got young kids, and nothing frustrates me more than having trouble installing car seats, so I'm glad Kia has made this change. And another great thing about the back seats are how easy they are to fold down. There's just a small little plastic lever on the top of the seat. You pull it very gently and the seat folds down with almost no effort at all. I'm doing this one-handed holding a camera, and I had no trouble. So you can collapse those back seats, which I think is important because you don't get much of a trunk space unless you collapse the seats. Another thing I liked back here is the privacy shield. This is intended to block people from looking to see what you have in the back. Usually these are made out of cheap pieces of styrofoam, but this is built out of solid quality materials. It's also super easy to install and uninstall, so all in all, I'm a pretty big fan. Alright, so that's pretty much all the major highlights of the 2018 Kia Soul Plus. I had this car for 3 days, drove it well over 300 miles. So given all that time behind the wheel, I really feel like I have enough information to make a recommendation. And that's really what you should be asking me, right? Would I recommend this car to you? Yes or no? Yes, I mean clearly yes. But this little car is right in my wheelhouse. I like small vehicles that get good gas mileage that can be converted easily and have lots of great tech features. And that's what the Kia Soul Plus has. There's just a lot to like about this little vehicle. It's clear to me that Kia spent a lot of time on their market research and are really designing cars that are friendly and easy to use. Friendly? All right, maybe not friendly, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time when I review the 2018 Nissan Altima. I'll see you then.